Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. Heavy rains result in deadly flooding in Texas, USA, leaving dozens dead and hundreds unaccounted for. Japanese government warns of more strong earthquakes in waters southwest of its main islands, urging people to believe manga comic book predictions of a major disaster. And National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu says President Bola Tinubu has remained firm in surmounting the intractable security challenges. Every first Saturday of the month of July is recognized by the United Nations as International Cooperative Day, recognizing the importance and impact on the social and economic well-being in a society. Musa Baba Ali reports that the federal government is remolding the laws establishing cooperatives in the country.
Cooperatives have existed since the 18th century, with roots tracing back to that era. Its primary goal is to address social and economic challenges within society. Reports indicate that there are over 3 million cooperatives worldwide, generating a combined turnover exceeding $2 trillion. In recognition of this, the United Nations designated the first Saturday of July as International Cooperative Day. In Nigeria, there are more than 300,000 registered cooperatives, with a combined membership exceeding 31 million people.
We educate, we trade, and we lend.
In 2023, cooperatives contributed an estimated 1.2 trillion naira to Nigeria's GDP. And these cooperatives are mobilizing $2 billion to boost the economy.
It is a cooperative financing model rooted in the law, backed by trust, and driven by mission.
However, the Minister of Agriculture believes that repealing the law governing cooperatives could enhance the economic contributions and create more jobs and eradicate poverty.
Their law may not necessarily be enough, because remember, it's a thin line between one person's jurisdiction and another person's jurisdiction. So if there are laws that covers the entire field, then guarantees can be provided.
The ministry has recently plans to submit a bill to the National Assembly to repeal the existing law. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now with me in the studio to discuss today's celebration is Benjamin Aduli. He is the President and CVO, Maestrade Multi-Purpose Cooperative Society Limited. You're very welcome to NTA International Studios.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's start by understanding why we celebrate Cooperative Day.
Because cooperative is a very strong element of development, and all over the world, the United Nations has designated today as a day to celebrate cooperatives because of their impact in rural development and the ability to mobilize credit and help the poor to get out of the poverty state.
And how are cooperatives driving, in your view, inclusive and sustainable solutions for a better world, given this year's theme?
All over the world, cooperatives are doing very well. Great institutions have emerged out of cooperatives. The likes of Rabobank started from cooperative. A Kenyan National Cooperative Bank has become a very big bank. And locally in Nigeria, the cooperative movement in Nigeria is very focused now on setting up a new cooperative bank, and are working with the Ministry of Agriculture to make that happen within the next few years.
And in the Nigerian context, what would you say is the main purpose of cooperatives?
At the time that the inflation is very high in Nigeria now, the need for cooperatives has become very, very important now. And most farmers in rural areas do not have enough access to capital, do not have enough access to training, and need a lot of equipment as well. So cooperative has become very, very crucial in Nigeria today. And the coming of this administration, the president specifically pointed out that he will work to ensure that cooperatives are revamped in Nigeria, and he gave the mandate to the Ministry of Agric, and they are doing very well to make sure that the cooperative in Nigeria is revamped and the movement become more active than it was before.
And lastly, what would you say to people who may be skeptical about joining cooperative societies?
For those who are skeptical, cooperatives have become a big movement in Nigeria. The applications of cooperatives are now digital. Wema Bank, for example, have developed a platform called Cooperative. So the platform is no longer manual as before. We have a digital platform now. So going to cooperatives now is like going to your bank. So there's nothing to be skeptical about. If you can walk into a bank and open an account, you can do that now as a cooperative. You can open an account in your phone as a cooperative, and you can save with your cooperative from your home, and you can walk into any POS terminal as well, using a Coop platform, for example, and you can do that from anywhere. So there's nothing to be scared about anymore, because cooperatives are now going digital, and they can help you save, can help you get money cheaper than you can get from your bank. So I can encourage anyone, get involved with cooperative and grow your own wealth. In our slogan, cooperatives don't beg anymore, cooperatives are building, and I can say, join us and build a new cooperative movement in Nigeria.
Absolutely. All right. Benjamin Aduli, President and CVO, Maestrade Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited. Many thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're welcome. Now, as diplomacy increasingly intertwines with media influence, Nigeria and other African correspondents under the CIPCC program have engaged Chinese officials in high-level talks on the future of Africa-China cooperation. Patricia Isamiluba reports that Nigeria, through this rare convergence of journalism and diplomacy, reaffirmed its drive to lead in shaping a more strategic and equitable partnership with China, one that champions African agencies in global discourse.
In a diplomatic exchange that brings media and policy closer than ever, Nigeria is again raising its voice, calling for balanced narratives and shared responsibility in the evolving China-Africa relationship. This rare and high-level engagement brought together African foreign journalists currently in China, and they met with the Director General of the Department of African Affairs, Xiao Huidu, who provided insight into China's policy directions, development diplomacy, and the expectations ahead of the upcoming FOCAC Summit in 2026.
出现了债务问题，办法也只有一个，通过发展的方法来解决债务问题。现在的非洲债务问题，或者是融资难、融资贵的问题，实际上是因为某个大国自私自利的货币政策。
Nigeria, as often seen as a bellwether for continental leadership, brought a strong message to the table. Africa's role must be elevated from beneficiary to co-architect in shaping future policy directions, which was the stance of the Nigerian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, at the concluded 2025 FOCAC in Chansa, Hunan Province.
It's not just about reporting from the sidelines, it's about being part of the conversation.
Nigeria's position today reminds us that policy must reflect African priorities, not just in economic terms.
It's about leading Africa's narrative, ensuring that our voices are heard.
Nigeria is not just a trade or security leader in West Africa, but also a diplomatic force shaping multilateral development agendas with China.
Beyond trade, infrastructure, and investment, the conversation also touched on how media can better reflect the depth and dignity of African agency in global partnerships. Diplomacy is no longer confined to formal delegations. The voices of journalists too are shaping perception, policy, and progress, and Nigeria continues to lead that conversation. From Beijing in China, Patricia Isamiluba, NTA News.
The Japanese government has warned of more strong earthquakes in waters southwest of its main islands and urges people to believe the manga comic book predictions of a major disaster. Details with Kolo Mohammed.
Authorities in Japan evacuated some residents from a remote island close to the epicenter of a 5.5 magnitude quake off the tip of the southern main island of Kyushu. The quake was strong enough to make standing difficult, was one of more than 1,000 tremors in the islands of Kagoshima Prefecture in the past 2 weeks that have fueled rumors stemming from a comic book prediction that a major disaster will befall the country this month. Currently, it is difficult to predict the exact time, place, or scale of an earthquake, says the director of Japan Meteorological Agency's Earthquake and Tsunami Monitoring Division, after 5.4 magnitude quake shook the area again on Saturday.
He once said that extraordinary claims should require extraordinary evidence. But these predictors are making extraordinary claims with the flimsiest of flimsy evidence. Basically none at all.
Japan has had record visitor numbers this year, with April setting the record monthly high of 3.9 million travelers. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Meanwhile, heavy rains have resulted in a deadly case of flooding in Texas, USA, with dozens killed and hundreds unaccounted for. Here again is Kolo Muhammad with details.
Authorities in Texas say 207 people have so been rescued, with about 107 of that number by helicopter, while the identity of those deceased have not been made public yet. Several children's camps were directly hit by the floods. A number of children are still missing. These rivers rose at about 26 feet over an hour. This was not seen by weather-focused analysts in the build-up to this flood. Officials say one of the vehicles of the first responders was washed away.
It's terrible, the floods. It's shocking. They don't know the answer yet as to how many people, but it looks like some young people have died. Federal aid for the... Oh yeah, sure. We'll take care of it. We're working with the governor.
And assure everybody involved in this is going to be fully accounted for.
The mayor of Texas asked for prayers for the communities. Meanwhile, humanitarian organizations are sounding the alarm over attacks on healthcare facilities in Sudan, warning that 70% of them are closed or barely operational. A huge call has been further put out to warring parties to stop the violence against civilian health facilities and infrastructure to facilitate a large-scale humanitarian response. Save the Children campaign echoed those concerns, saying that attacks on hospitals tripled in the first half of this year, with more than 900 people killed while seeking health care or accompanying someone to hospital, 60 times the number of deaths compared to the same period last year. Major hospitals, clinics, healthcare facilities, ambulances and medical convoys also fatal attacks in a country where half the population requires humanitarian assistance, according to Save the Children campaign. Of particular note is a warning against violence in El Fasher City, the capital of North Darfur province, that's near impossible for residents there and nearby displacement camps to access health care. As of April, only one hospital with surgical capacity remained partially operational, serving an estimated population of over 1 million. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Another news now. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, says President Bola Tinubu has remained firm in surmounting the intractable security challenges. Ribadu stated this at the 50th anniversary celebration of the Nigeria Defense Academy 18 regular course held in Abuja, where he delivered a lecture titled Veterans as Significant National Assets. The NSA stressed that Nigeria stood at a crossroads in 2022, grappling with multiple security challenges that threatened its unity, stability, and future.
And I will share with you the strategic interventions and achievements under the present government, from freeing 11,250 hostages to restoring oil production to 1.8 million barrels per day. We have delivered decisive blows to top warlords, including Ali Kachala, Boderi, Halilu Sububu, 1,978 illegal refineries dismantled.
It is our country, it's the only country that we have. And it's only us that will make that difference, not any other person. Days have gone that we want to rely on any other person to change or save our country. We have to do it ourselves.
But everybody has his own way and means of contributing to development of his community.
The story of Nigerian Defense Academy 18 regular corps offers a ray of hope. It reminds us that from humble beginning, guided by discipline and service, a cohort of young men can grow to shape a nation.
The NSA notes that the ongoing counterinsurgency campaign has led to the elimination of more than 13,500 terrorists, while 124,000 Boko Haram ISWAP fighters and their families have surrendered. This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a break. More reports in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. Governor Basi Otu is asserting that Cross River State has emerged from the shadows of marginalization and is now firmly established at the national level, resulting in growth and developments witnessed in all sectors of the economy, courtesy of President Bola Tinubu and his administration's inclusive governance. The Cross River State governor was speaking while representing the president at a grand reception and thank you rally held in honor of the president and Governor Basi Otu in Calabar. Justina Etim reports that the event was powered by the Cross River South Consultative Forum.
The people of Cross River South, comprising 7 local government areas, are celebrating President Tinubu and Governor Otu, affirming that their exemplary leadership style, marked by delivery of democratic dividends, has earned them the people's support, as displayed at the UJ Eswene Stadium, Calabar.
We have done well in the infrastructure, in security, in health, in physical development, and in every other aspect of development of this state. We are sure that within the remaining period of this season, of this very tenure, you would not shift, but rather you will improve more on what you have achieved so far.
Expressing gratitude for the federal government's support, which has catalyzed significant growth in the state's agricultural sector, Governor Otu commits to further serving the people.
We enlisted 13 thematic areas which we are going to intervene. In all the areas, to some extent, we've done justice. Today, I can proudly say that we've laid a solid economic foundation for Cross River State. I can proudly say that our economic indices has changed, both in terms of addition to our GDP and our productivity level.
Senator representing Cross River South speaks on achievements of President Tinubu and Governor Basi Otu.
On day one, he implemented his policies. Those 3 policies of removing the corrupt foreign exchange regime and unifying the exchange rate, as well as eradicating the corrupt subsidies. We are here gathered to give a vote of confidence to Mr. President.
Various support groups, APC leadership, youth organizations and others also extend their goodwill messages. In Calabar, Justina Etim, NTA News.
Now, in a move to promote safe and sustainable water practices, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation has announced a collaborative partnership with water companies to drive nationwide water quality management campaigns. This initiative supports the goals of President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda in the water sector. This commitment was made by the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, during a courtesy visit by the management of the organized private sector in water, sanitation and hygiene to his office in Abuja. In a statement by the Director, Information and Public Relations, Fumi Mwetianyan, the Minister emphasized that efficient water resources Management is essential for minimizing public health threats such as cholera and diarrhea, while also helping to mitigate the adverse impacts of flooding. He assured of the ministry's full support for the Clean Water Campaign project and pledged timely collaboration to deliver impactful results. Speaking on behalf of the organized private water sector in sanitation and hygiene, Victoria Waduka stressed the urgency of bridging the knowledge gap around water quality. She added that the campaign is built on 3 key pillars: raising awareness and educating, engaging stakeholders, and driving sustainable actions. Providing further insight into the project, National Coordinator of Ops WASH, Dr. Nicholas Igwe, highlighted that this collaboration goes beyond traditional corporate social responsibility. It is also focused on long-term water rehabilitation in Abuja Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, and 16 communities will be benefiting, while 8 communities in Agbara, Ogun State are also set to receive support. Additionally, 2 farming communities in Abuja and Agbara will benefit from the introduction of water harvesting systems for irrigation. Elsewhere, the Senate Committee on 1999 Constitution Review has ended its zonal public hearing on the proposed amendments of the Constitution in Jos, with high demands for the creation of more states, reserved seats for women in governance, recognition of traditional institutions and state police, as well as devolution of powers, among others. Details with Ndinyang and Nyabagyang.
The public hearing seeks to address critical national issues bordering on local government autonomy, electoral and judicial reforms, creation of states, state policing, inclusivity of women and people living with disability, amongst others. Chairman Senate Subcommittee for the North Central Zone, Ashuru Lola, is optimistic that the contributions by various groups will foster national perspective rather than personal interest, consider viewpoints from all, and share insights.
I want to want every person to recognize that participation in this process as a vital civic responsibility.
Governor Caleb Mutfwang says public hearing is key for state building and democratic growth of any nation, as it allows citizens express their views on critical national issues that affect them. He commended the National Assembly for creating time to meet with their various constituents, which will become catalysts for projecting the Nigeria of our dreams.
A public hearing like this will afford us an opportunity to ventilate and articulate positions.
Stakeholders are positive that if their submissions are considered, no one will feel marginalized and the country will move to greater heights.
Girls with disabilities smoke too long and have been sidelined and excluded from political participation.
More than 60 submissions have been made by various groups to the committee for consideration.
All right, apologies for the slight mix-up in that report. In a historic move to address lingering national concerns and promote inclusive governance, the Senate Committee on Constitution Review, led by the Deputy Senate President and represented by the Senate's leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, has convened a zonal public hearing in Lagos. The event, simultaneously held across Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones, marks a significant phase in the ongoing efforts to further amend the 1999 Constitution. This initiative seeks to incorporate the views of diverse stakeholders on 14 critical areas of reforms.
At the Lagos Center, representatives from traditional institutions, civil society organizations, and political leaders gathered to lend their voices. The Lagos State Governor, represented by the Deputy Obafemi Hamzat, emphasized the need for constitutional recognition of the state's 37 local council development areas as substantive local governments, bringing the total to 57. Some of the issues of concern in the region are boundary adjustment between Lagos and Ogun State, creation of 5 new states in the southwest, Ijebu, Coastal, Igbomina, Ibadan, and New Oyo.
For us in Lagos State, it must be stated that we are requesting unequivocally the listing of our 37 local development areas. These are children that have been given birth to. They've been nurtured and they have grown. It will be unfair for the nation to not give them a birth certificate.
You will agree with me that the old Ijebu province remains the only province without a standalone state.
Highlighting the importance of traditional institutions in the national development, the Oni of Ife, alongside other royal fathers from the 6 southwest states, commended the National Assembly for formally involving traditional rulers in the review process.
We can assure you that we will continue to do our best in terms of our contribution towards a better Nigeria.
This zonal hearing, the 5th round of constitutional alterations since 1999, the Senate leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, noted, reflects the National Assembly's renewed commitment to strengthen Nigeria's democracy through participatory reforms.
Several fundamental issues of national importance remain unresolved, requiring more than just routine lawmaking by the National Assembly and state houses of assembly. These issues continue to dominate public discourse, with many Nigerians advocating for legislative action to address them.
The committee has received hundreds of memoranda from Nigerians and assured that all inputs will be thoroughly considered. In Lagos, Jesuto Moses, NTA News.
And that concludes the news on NTA International. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.